जी, तो we were talking about, in the previous session, we were talking about inspiring the children and counseling and reforming the children. How to counsel the students, how to reform them without insulting or without embarrassing them, and how to inculcate values in them. Connected with that is the issue of positive reinforcements, right? We have to encourage students. Encouragement of students is important, is critically important. Whether the teacher encourages the students or not, whether the teacher gives positive reinforcements to the students or not, is something that has to be looked into, has to be observed and evaluated. And teachers should know that these are things that we have been discussing since a few weeks. These are things that will be evaluated. The teacher should be evaluated on these parameters. Whether she's reforming the students, counseling the students, whether she's inculcating values or not, whether she's using the teaching moments properly or not. These are things that have to be evaluated. And as I said, positive reinforcements are critically important. Whether she encourages the students. And encouragement should not only be for students who get good results. Positive reinforcements can be done to encourage students who are average as well, right? In fact, the one who goes from 40% marks to 60% marks deserves more encouragement than the one who goes from 85 to 86, right? 85 to 86 is not that big a difference, but 40 to 60 or 65, he has gone 20-25% ahead, right? So he deserves more encouragement, in fact, right? We generally tend to only encourage the toppers of the class. And encouragement, we will actually do an entire session on awards, the kind of awards that we can give to students. We only give a few awards. Toppers of the class, the ones who win the elocution competition, or the one who comes first in the race, we give them the awards. But there are many other aspects in the process of talim and tarbiyah that needs to be understood, that needs to be enhanced, encouraged, right? And positive reinforcements are critically important. When we understand their comparative, and if we do a comparative analysis of positive reinforcements with negative reinforcements, we are able to understand the value of positive reinforcements. Many times teachers give negative reinforcements, negative punishments, like the teacher will tell the student to stand outside the class. The teacher will tell the student to raise their hands. What are the students gaining out of it? Nothing. Right? Give them constructive punishments. Constructive punishments in the sense, tell the student to, even if you have to punish the student, tell the student to come out and explain a particular part of the chapter, or tell the student to write an essay on a particular topic, or tell the student to write the tables, 9 times table, 12 times table, 13 times table, right? Or tell the student to write a story or narrate a story or whatever. These kind of things which are positive and constructive. Punishment should be constructive. Similarly, when we encourage, the words that we are using should be positive, right, and constructive. We should never use negative terminology in our classroom. It should be banned, right? So encouragement and using positive reinforcements are a critical aspect of a teacher's life. Then another aspect of a teacher's life, of her professional life, is observing children and writing anecdotal records. You don't just observe children, but you actually maintain records. Maintaining of records is important, anecdotal records. Whether the teacher maintains, I don't know how many of you people have almanacs or calendars. I'm sure most of you would be having in your schools. But in those calendars, there should be a page for anecdotal records. There should be, in fact, several pages for anecdotal records, so that the teacher maintains that what were the challenges or the problems and what were the corrective steps taken by the teacher. So that when you interact with the parents would know what happened and what were the corrective measures taken, right? So these anecdotal records should be maintained. Whether the teacher maintains anecdotal records or not is also one of the key parameters of her duties. Another important aspect of being a teacher is being accessible. The teacher should be accessible. This is very important, right? Anytime the student has a problem or feels uncomfortable or feels let out, let off means nobody's paying attention, or the student feels that he is not getting enough support, right? Or if the student feels that he's not understanding something, a student has some psychological or emotional challenge, the student should feel comfortable and the student should feel that access to the teacher is easy, right? The teacher should be accessible anytime, whether in the corridor, whether in the classroom, whether in the staff room, the teacher should be accessible. The student should feel comfortable enough to express her problems, her difficulties to the students. So being accessible is another important aspect of being an effective teacher. Another important aspect of being an effective teacher, the parameters of evaluating a good teacher, is classroom hygiene, right? We have dealt a lot of things about classroom teaching, but there are other aspects of a teacher which are also equally important. And one of those aspects is that of classroom hygiene. Whether the classroom is maintained clean, whether there is, the waste of pencil thrown on the ground, whether there are pieces of paper on the ground, whether there are stuff littered on the floor of the classroom, right? Now, these are things that have to be looked into. A good class teacher, especially class teacher, will ensure that there is a habit inculcated in the students to maintain their classrooms clean and neat, right? They should feel uncomfortable. The students should feel uncomfortable when their classroom is dirty, littered with stuff on the floor, right? That kind of sense, that sense of cleanliness, that sense of belongingness to the classroom, right? That I belong to this classroom and this classroom should be maintained clean, right? It is my duty and my responsibility. And all the students start thinking in this manner, your classroom will be neat and clean, right? So instilling this value in the students, right? When the supervisor or the principal on a round sees a classroom that is spick and span, nothing is thrown on the floor. Now that is an indication that the teacher, the class teacher, is an effective class teacher in terms of maintaining cleanliness and neatness, right? So cleanliness and classroom hygiene is another important aspect as a parameter of evaluating effective teacher. Another important aspect of evaluating the effectiveness of a teacher is whether the teacher is following up on her lessons. Following up on her lessons is of critical importance as well, because many a times teachers give homeworks, right? But they don't follow up. You have to regularly and effectively check the homework and the assignments. There are teachers who give homework and assignments, they never check them. So that's not an effective practice, right? Not only regularly check the homework and the assignments, but effectively check them. How do you effectively check it? There are many people who check the notebooks. They just give a tick mark on every page. They never bother to read it. That is just completing a formality. What's the point of doing that? In fact, I always tell in schools, in my workshops, that you should never have any activity that is a formality. You should have activities that have an effective value. If it doesn't have an effective value in the improvement and enhancement of the process of education, then any such activity that happens within the ecosystem of the school right? This is a hindrance for the development and progress of the school, right? This is a waste of time and energy this is a waste of resources of the teachers, of the school ecosystem, right? Any such activity should be done away with, right? You should rather have uh, processes which are practically useful, like checking only marking tick marks on the paper on the notebook has no meaning, is meaningless. In fact, it is counterproductive because the students think that I have written everything correctly, whereas the teacher didn't even bother to read it. She just kept on putting tick marks. So this is something that should be avoided. Effective checking would be where the teacher takes the pains to read the stuff, encircle the spelling mistakes, right? Underline the sentence structural mistakes, right? Write down the correct spelling, indicate if the answer is wrong, what would be the correct answer, at least indicate them, right? So these are things, real checking and effective checking of homework, of notebooks, of assignments, right? And giving inputs for improvement on those notes, on those assignments is of critical importance, right? So this follow-up process, effective follow-up process is also one of the important parameters of being an effective teacher. Then diligence in maintaining the educational progress records. This is also critically important, right? Maintaining the progress records. We saw maintenance of behavioral anecdotal records, but maintenance of records which are in terms of the students' progress, academic progress, is also critically important, right? Many a times the teachers feel correcting of papers is a burden. Many a times teachers feel diligently maintaining records is a burden, because if you don't maintain records, what cannot be measured cannot be, what is not measured cannot be improved upon, they say, right? It is said that what is not measured and records are not kept of it, it cannot be, right, improved upon. There is no yardstick then, right? So maintaining records, students' records, is also important. How diligent the teacher is in that. Another important aspect of a teacher, this is a very, very important aspect, is time management. How does the teacher manage her time? How effective is she in managing her time? Now, managing of time has many different aspects. Like one aspect of managing time is whether she maintains her records, or she completes her work, she completes her lesson planning on time, well within time. She completes the work assigned to her by her supervisors well within time, right? She meets the deadlines, right? Now, these are things that are important for any professional, right? Maintaining a sense of time, right? Being diligent in maintaining time and completing the work well within time. Question papers are submitted well within time. The answers that have to be corrected are corrected and submitted well within time. The result sheets are made well within time. The lesson plans are made well within time, right? Now, this is one aspect of time management that every professional should be careful about. Whatever task is assigned to them, that has to be done well within time. Waqt rehte complete karna hai, right? You should not waste time, and you should not procrastinate. You should not delay your work, and you should meet the deadlines. In fact, you should do your stuff well before the deadline, right? This is one aspect of time management. Another aspect of time management that is specific to a teacher is managing the time in terms of completing her portion, right? Many a times teachers, due to lethargy, due to absenteeism, due to wasting of time, they are unable to complete their portion. Sometimes the teachers, while teaching, they go off on a tangent, so much so on a tangent that they're teaching some subject and something comes up in the discussion in the classroom, and the teacher goes off on a tangent and he goes so far away that he forgets what was being taught, right? and the entire class, the remaining class, is wasted in something totally different. Right? Yes, you must go off on tangents. As they say in Urdu, lakir ka fakir nahi banna chahiye. Don't only get stuck to what is there in the textbook. You should have a wide and multi-dimensional perspective when you're teaching. That is a good thing. But too much of a good thing is not too good, as they say. Right? But if you go off on it, you've got to strike a balance. If you go off on a tangent too much, and you, because of that habit of yours, right, you end up not able to complete your portion well within time, then the students are not able to learn their stuff, their lessons in time. They are not able to prepare well within time, and that would, you will not be able to do revision, and that would impact their grade, their marks. So completing the portion well within time, enough so that they get time to revise. You get time to revise the content, right, when the exams are approaching, right? Now, this is also important. Another aspect of time management for a teacher that is also very critically important is, many times these teachers come late to the class, right? They come late to the class, and because of that, sometimes they take a few minutes more, even after the bell rings. Or sometimes even if they come on time, they end up making the other teacher wait outside the classroom. They're taking 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes more. Every time they're taking 5 minutes more, right? Once in a blue moon, it can happen, because you have to complete what you are talking about, discussing. You have to take it to a logical conclusion. Sometimes, on a rare occasion, it may happen. That is understandable, because teaching is not like exact clockwork, right? It is a dynamic process. It may happen sometimes, but your teaching practice should be such, your planning, your time management should be such that if you know now there is 5 minutes left for the bell to ring, you should have a tap on time. So what you'll do, you will now move towards closing the discussions, right? Rather than closing the discussion after the bell rings. This is the management of time that the teacher has to do. The teacher shouldn't make the other teacher wait outside the classroom, right? She should manage her time within the classroom in such a manner that she is able to complete her content well within time, right? When the bell rings, don't complete the discussion 5 minutes before the bell rings and waste those 5 minutes. Don't do that also, right? And don't take excess 5 minutes. Don't do that also. So that ability to balance your time and make optimal utilization of time without encroaching upon the other teacher's time. Now, this is a skill that every teacher must learn. So time management and classroom time management is also a critically important aspect that an effective teaching professional should have the ability to do, right? This is critically important. Punctuality is also very important, as we discussed, right? Coming to school on time, right? Many a times we find teachers, the assembly starts and they are coming, right? So the students are coming before the teacher comes. Teacher is coming late. Now, if the teacher comes late to the school every day in the morning, the students see that these 2-3 teachers are always coming late. What happens? What kind of impact it will have on the students? They will also start coming late, because coming late is normal. Even if teachers are coming late, what's the big deal? The students will think, right? So punctuality is important, not just coming to school. Punctuality in terms of going to your classroom and leaving your classroom on time. This is also important. Going to your classroom on time. It shouldn't be as if the one teacher exits the classroom and the next teacher comes after 5 minutes. And in the meantime, in this 5 minutes, the classroom becomes a circus. Why? Because the students are having a gala time, because there is no teacher, there is no supervision, right? So this is something that should not happen. Punctuality to come in terms of coming to school, punctuality in terms of what do we call in terms of going to your class. This is also important. So all of these things are parameters that make a good teacher, that make an effective professional, not just in terms of teaching in a classroom, but there are other aspects that we are going to cover and we have started covering, which deal with our professional ethics, the teacher's professional ethics. These are important, like missing deadlines, never miss deadlines, right? Now, this is a professional ethic that even in other industries, people have to follow, right? Then another aspect is classroom substitutions, right? Whether the teacher considers classroom substitutions, proxy classes as a burden. Now, this is an important aspect, right? What is your attitude towards proxy classes or class substitutions? Because it is natural that you will have every now and then, you will have some teachers remaining absent on grounds of sickness, or maybe they have some challenge or problem or issue at their home or whatever, right? Maybe their children are sick at home, whatever. So it is natural that people will, take holidays or take casual leaves, as they say, right? So other teachers have to fill in, other teachers have to go to those classes. Now, there would be teachers who would consider classroom substitutions as a burden, right? And then there would be teachers who will consider classroom substitutions as a challenge, as an opportunity. Now, your attitude towards classroom substitutions also determines your professional ethics, also determines your, as they say in Urdu, lagan, right? Your dedication towards your profession, right? If you look at classroom substitutions as an opportunity to earn paradise, to earn Jannah, every time you get a classroom substitution or a proxy, you don't teach in that class, maybe it's a class that you never go to, right? But it's an opportunity. But it is an opportunity for you to talk to those students. Maybe you can talk to them, you can narrate to them some story, you can narrate to them some anecdote, you can talk about some story of the Sahaba, you can talk about some story of the Anbiya Karam, you can talk about some story from the Sirat, you can talk about some story from Nelson Mandela's life, for an example, right? You can do tarbiyah, you can teach them many different aspects of life. You can, entertain them with entertaining, interesting, value-based stories. What you're doing, it's an opportunity that you're utilizing to make your paradise. Because as I said, that the salaries that your management pay you, really, those salaries are not enough, right? In the other industries, they get 50,000, 70,000, 1 lakh per month. Do teachers normally get that? In our normal schools, I'm not talking about the Ivy League schools and, IB schools, international schools where they charge 5 lakh rupees an annum fees. Maybe there they get high salaries. But in the normal average school, you don't get 50,000, 70,000 salary, right? And then you say that your teaching is a noble profession. Doesn't look quite noble when you look at your paycheck, right? Doesn't look that noble. So, now that is, I'm not demeaning or degrading the teacher. What I'm telling you, what I'm hitting at, teaching is really a noble profession. And it is noble because the value that you're going to get out of your teaching is not only in this world. If you're in a marketing professional, right, and in a soap manufacturing company, right, and you're getting 70,000 rupees per month, right, or 1 lakh rupees per month, right, through that work of selling soaps, Lux, or whatever soap you have, Godrej soap or whatever soap, right, or what are that, Peers, right? You are not going to earn any hasanat by selling soaps to people or selling motorbikes to people, right? Being a marketing executive in some company, you're not going to gain any ajr. You're not building your paradise. You're just earning your salary for this world. But being a teacher, it's different. Every day, it's a question of changing your intention, reforming your intention, tweaking your outlook, to think and consider that every day for you is a day to earn paradise. Every day for you is a day to build the society. That's what the teachers are doing, to build the society, to reform the society, to develop an informed, well-developed, and civilized society. Tomorrow's generation you are building, right? So it is an opportunity if you go with that mindset that I want to contribute towards my community. I want to contribute towards my society. I want to contribute towards my nation, right? And more specifically, I want to of skills in such a manner that I build a concrete and valuable generation which I can offer for the next few years. Now, if you have that kind of mindset and attitude and outlook, you're earning Jannah every day, right? The true value of a teacher is accrues in the afterlife. The 10, 20, 30,000 that you're getting in this world salary is definitely not enough. Obviously, the managements have their own limitations because the fees that they collect is limited. So they can't give you 1 lakh rupees per month in the normal course, right? Exceptions leave aside. So the real value that you'll get out of it is in the hereafter. If you go to your class every day with an intention of earning Jannah, with an outlook of earning Hasanat, with an outlook of making your Jannah, then what you get in this world will be very meager, very little. But out of your professional career of being teachers, what you will get in the here true earning, your hereafter, your Jannah will be your true earning. As a teacher, it is an opportunity for you to earn Jannah. If you consider teaching as an ibadah, if you consider teaching as a process of pleasing your Rabb, then the process of teaching will become a ladder for you to reach paradise. This is the outlook that every teacher should cultivate. And if the teacher cultivates this kind of an outlook, then class substitutions will never become a burden for that teacher. The teacher will consider that I got another class to go to. Now this is an opportunity for me. This is an opportunity for me to earn some more hasanat, right? It is an opportunity for me to earn my Jannah, right? To train, to do tarbiyah of my, what do we call, of the next generation, right? So whether the teacher has a positive and constructive outlook, and whether the teacher utilizes opportunities of class substitutions for constructive tarbiyah is something that defines a productive and effective teacher. I understand it is the responsibility of the management to balance. Don't give class substitutions to just a couple of teachers, 2, 3 teachers, much more than the other teachers. That's not fair, right? On the management part, the management should try to balance it. But on the teacher's part, the teacher should look at substitutions not as a burden, but rather as an opportunity. All right. And I have run out of time. We'll continue with this process next week. Jazakumullahu khair. Wa akhiru dawana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Ghufraan Saab for sharing many important points. With this, we are going to end this program. Subhanallah bihamdi, subhanakallahumma bihamdika, shana la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu